Total Self-Mastery, the 90-Day Discipline. Transformation Introduction. Why 90 days can change your life forever. There are moments in life when everything must change, not gradually, not someday, not when conditions become perfect, but now. If you are listening to this audiobook, it means you have reached that point. You want discipline, you want control, you want consistency, you want the ability to follow through, you want the level of self-mastery you know you're capable of. But here is the truth most people never accept. Discipline is not motivation. Discipline is not willpower. Discipline is not a personality trait. Discipline is a system, a lifestyle, a transformation process. This audiobook gives you the exact psychological and behavioral framework to rebuild your life in 90 days. 90 days is the sweet spot. Short enough to stay intense, long enough to rewrite identity, strong enough to build permanent habits, structured enough to give your life direction. This is not a challenge. This is not a motivational speech. This is a full system for self-mastery. Welcome to the next version of your life. Chapter 1. The moment you decide to become someone new. All transformation begins with a decision, not a wish, not a hope, not a vague desire. A decision. The moment you decide who you will be for the next 90 days, something in your identity shifts. You stop negotiating. You stop making excuses. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop living like the old version of yourself. This is the identity pivot point. Most people fail because they try to change their habits without changing the identity that controls those habits. You cannot become disciplined while still believing, I'm inconsistent. I always fall off. I'm not good at routines. So the first step of the 90-day transformation is declaring, I am becoming a person of extreme discipline, and I will live as that person starting today. Identity precedes action. Action reinforces identity. This loop is how discipline becomes permanent. Chapter 2. The truth about discipline. Most people never learn. People believe discipline is about effort or willpower. Wrong, dead wrong. Discipline is a structure, a pattern, a loop, a system, a decision-making automation. Discipline fails when you rely on emotion. Discipline thrives when you rely on structure. Undisciplined people think, I'll do it when I feel ready. Disciplined people think, I've already decided. Feelings are irrelevant. Discipline has nothing to do with wanting to do the work. It has everything to do with eliminating negotiation, removing unnecessary choices, reducing friction, creating consistency, establishing rules, obeying standards. You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your systems. This audiobook rebuilds your system from the ground up. Chapter 3. The Discipline Triad. Identity, structure, execution. Every disciplined person operates with 3 pillars. Miss one, and discipline collapses. 1. Identity, who you are. This is the psychological foundation. If you still see yourself as someone who quits, avoids discomfort, breaks promises, postpones action, then you will unconsciously sabotage every attempt at change. Your identity must upgrade before your results can. 2. Structure, how your life is built. Structure includes routines, schedules, environment, habits, rules, standards. Structure removes decision fatigue and makes discipline automatic. 3. Execution, what you actually do. Execution requires clarity, simplicity, consistency, momentum, accountability. Execution is where discipline becomes reality. The discipline triad controls everything. This 90-day program builds all 3. Chapter 4. How to build a life where discipline is automatic. Real discipline does not depend on willpower. Real discipline removes the need for willpower altogether. To understand this, ask yourself, why do I brush my teeth every day without effort? Because the habit is automated. The environment supports it. The identity reinforces it. The cost of not doing it is clear. You don't debate it. You simply do it. Your entire life must begin operating this way. Here is how you make discipline automatic. 1. Reduce choices. Choices drain energy. Systems conserve energy. 2. Create non-negotiables. These are daily actions that you will not skip, no matter what. 3. Build the first hour rule. Your morning determines your discipline for the rest of the day. 4. Control your environment. Your environment either forces discipline or destroys it. 5. Create accountability structures. Public commitments, tracking sheets, timers, rituals. Winners always anchor their actions. When structure takes over, discipline becomes effortless. Chapter 5. The Power of Momentum and Micro-Wins. People overestimate what they can do with motivation and underestimate what they can do with momentum. Motivation is emotional. Momentum is mechanical. You build momentum through micro-wins. 1 workout, 1 healthy meal, 1 hour of focus, 1 completed task, 1 fast decision, 1 avoided distraction. Momentum is not built by massive action. Momentum is built by minimum daily standards done consistently. Your 90-day transformation is not about going hard. It's about going consistent. A single small win per day will change your life faster than sporadic bursts of intensity. Your brain begins seeing yourself as someone who follows through. This identity shift compounds until discipline becomes natural. Small wins, identity shift, bigger wins, self-mastery. Chapter 6. The 90-Day Rule of 1. Most people fail because they try to change. Too many habits. Too fast. With too much intensity. The Rule of 1 eliminates this. For the next 90 days, pick 1 primary discipline goal. Just 1. Examples. Work out every day. Write every day. Read every day. Clean diet. Business building. Wake up early. Social media elimination. This becomes your anchor habit, the core discipline that triggers all others. When you master 1 discipline, you strengthen your identity, and a stronger identity cascades into every area of life. The fastest way to change your life is to master 1 habit, not many. Chapter 7. The Discipline Loop that Rewires Your Brain. Every day for 90 days, you will run this loop. Step 1. State verbally the 1 habit you will complete today. Step 2. Execute without negotiation. Step 3. Record the completion. Step 4. Acknowledge the win. Identity grows. Step 5. Repeat. Start again tomorrow. This loop rewires your brain for consistency. The repetitions turn discipline into instinct. The more loops you complete, the more unstoppable you become. Chapter 8. Why you must eliminate negotiation from your life. Negotiation is the enemy of discipline. When you negotiate with yourself, you give your emotions an opportunity to sabotage you. The undisciplined mind says, "Should I work out today? Maybe I'll do it later. I'll start tomorrow." The disciplined mind says, "It's happening. No vote needed." Winners remove negotiation from their life. They operate by systems, not feelings, by standards, not moods, by commitment, not convenience. If you want extreme discipline, you must eliminate the internal debate. You must become someone who obeys your own standards regardless of emotion. Chapter 9. How to handle the days you feel like quitting. In 90 days, you will have 3 types of days. 1. High momentum days. Easy, you feel powerful. 2. Neutral days. Normal, you execute as planned. 3. Dark days. These are the days that define you. Dark days are low energy, low motivation, emotional chaos, stress, doubt, temptation to quit. Most people collapse here. But the truth is simple. Self-mastery is built on the dark days, not the easy ones. If you show up when you're tired, you develop identity strength. If you show up when you're discouraged, you develop resilience. If you show up when your emotions scream stop, you develop unstoppable discipline. Dark days are the forge. Dark days build warriors. Chapter 10. Environment, the silent destroyer of discipline. Your environment shapes your discipline more powerfully than your willpower does. If your environment is filled with distractions, temptations, clutter, noise, low-quality habits, undisciplined people, you will fail your 90-day transformation. Winners engineer their environment. You must remove triggers, organize your space, prepare materials in advance, eliminate chaos. Limit digital distraction. Surround yourself with people who also want to grow. Your environment must force discipline, not sabotage it. This is how you make self-mastery inevitable. Chapter 11. The power of routines and rituals. If discipline is the engine, routines are the fuel. Most people rely on motivation because they lack structure. They drift through their days hoping to feel ready, but nothing consistent is ever built on hope. Winners remove randomness from their lives. They construct routines and rituals that make discipline predictable. A routine is a sequence of actions. A ritual is a sacred repetition that builds identity. You need both. Your morning routine sets your discipline, your momentum, your focus, your energy, and your standards for the entire day. Your nighttime routine resets your mind, cleanses distractions, and prepares your identity for tomorrow. During this 90-day transformation, your routines must become non-negotiable. They don't have to be complicated, just consistent. Example morning ritual. 1. Wake up at a fixed time. 2. Hydrate. 3. Light movement or exercise. 4. Review your goals. 5. Execute the first discipline task of the day. Example evening ritual. 1. No screens 30 minutes before bed. 2. Reflect on the day. 3. Track your completion. 4. Visualize tomorrow. 5. Prepare your environment. These rituals anchor your discipline. When your routines are solid, your emotions lose their power over you. Chapter 12. Controlling your attention in a distracted world. The greatest enemy of discipline today is digital distraction. Notifications steal your momentum. Social media steals your confidence. Comparison steals your peace. Constant stimulation steals your focus. You cannot master yourself while your attention is hijacked. For the next 90 days, attention control becomes one of your highest priorities. You must be ruthless with your focus. Winners treat their attention like a scarce asset because it is. Here are non-negotiables for the 90-day transformation. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Keep your phone in another room during high-focus tasks. Set time slots for digital use. Unfollow accounts that make you reactive, emotional, or distracted. Replace scrolling with reading or learning. When you reclaim your attention, you reclaim your mind. When you reclaim your mind, you reclaim your life. Chapter 13. The Law of Repeated Exposure. Everything in your life, your habits, your fears, your confidence, your discipline, is shaped by exposure. What you repeatedly see becomes familiar. What becomes familiar becomes comfortable. What becomes comfortable becomes your identity. If you expose yourself to weakness, you normalize it. If you expose yourself to inconsistency, you expect it. If you expose yourself to reinforcement of old behavior, you revert back to it. But when you expose yourself daily to discipline, reading, listening, practicing, acting, your brain rewires. This audiobook is part of that exposure. Listening to this mindset, this structure, this discipline approach reconditions your mind. Your inputs determine your outcomes. For 90 days, you must flood your mind with content, ideas, philosophies, and actions that reinforce the identity you're building. You cannot keep consuming low-level information and expect high-level results. Your exposure builds your identity. Your identity builds your discipline. Your discipline builds your life. Chapter 14. Building Pain. Tolerance and Discomfort Immunity. Most people collapse because they are emotionally allergic to discomfort. They avoid anything that feels difficult, boring, unfamiliar, uncomfortable, challenging. But winners understand discomfort is the currency of growth. The difference between the disciplined and the undisciplined is not ability, it is tolerance. You must learn to tolerate boredom, repetition, exertion, inconvenience, mental pushback, emotional resistance. Once you stop fearing discomfort, discipline becomes simple. Here's the truth. You do not need more motivation. You need a higher discomfort threshold. During the 90-day transformation, discomfort becomes your training ground. You face it intentionally. You push into it. You remove its power. Soon, the discomfort that once stopped you becomes the very environment where you thrive. Chapter 15. How to eliminate old habits without willpower. Most people attempt to fight their bad habits with sheer discipline. That almost never works. Why? Because habits are not removed. They are replaced. Your brain needs patterns, predictability, and consistency. If you try to eliminate a habit without inserting a new one, your mind will default back to the familiar. Here's the method winners use. Step 1. Identify the cue, what triggers the habit. Step 2. Replace the routine. Substitute the behavior with something productive. Step 3. Change the reward. Make the replacement feel satisfying. Example. Instead of scrolling your phone when stressed, take a 2-minute walk or do 20 push-ups. Your brain learns a new loop. You cannot erase patterns. You must overwrite them. Replace, reinforce, repeat. Chapter 16. The power of never missing twice. You will have days when you miss a habit. Yes, even in a 90-day transformation. The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency. The rule that saves everything. Never miss 2 days in a row. Missing once is human. Missing twice is a pattern. Missing once is harmless. Missing twice is identity damage. Missing once keeps momentum alive. Missing twice kills momentum. If you slip, you immediately self-correct. You apply the rule with conviction. You protect your identity like your future depends on it, because it does. This rule alone will double your discipline. Chapter 17. The 90-day wall and how to break through it. Every transformation hits a wall. It usually appears between days 20-45. The excitement fades, the progress slows, the novelty disappears. Your emotions resist. Your mind tries to negotiate. Your discipline gets tested. This is the turning point where old identities fight to survive. The undisciplined quit here. The average slow down here. The weak negotiate here. The inconsistent restart later. The disciplined push through. You break through the wall with structure, momentum, repetition, micro wins, identity reinforcement, remembering your reason, focusing on the next step only. Once you pass the 90-day wall, the rest of the transformation feels easier than the beginning. The identity shift becomes permanent. The habits feel automatic. The resistance weakens. The wall is not a sign to quit. The wall is the door to the new version of you. Chapter 18. What to do when life interrupts your discipline. Unexpected events will try to break your consistency. Emergencies, work overload, emotional stress, sickness, family obligations, exhaustion. Undisciplined people collapse when life interrupts their routines. Disciplined people adapt. You must carry 2 mindsets simultaneously. 1. Rigid standards. You do not negotiate your identity. 2. Flexible execution. You adapt the method, not the goal. Example. If you cannot do a full workout, do a 10-minute one. If you cannot stick to your exact schedule, do the most essential task. If you cannot give 100%, give whatever percentage you can. The identity stays the same. The intensity adjusts. Adaptation keeps momentum alive. Chapter 19. Why you must track everything for 90 days. What gets measured gets improved. What gets tracked gets respected. What gets written gets internalized. Tracking is the backbone of discipline. When you track your habits, you generate awareness, momentum, accountability, progress, identity reinforcement. The act of checking off a completed habit is a psychological win. It signals to your brain, I follow through, I execute, I am disciplined. Your 90-day transformation must include daily tracking, weekly reflections, monthly evaluations. Tracking turns your discipline into data. Data turns your progress into reality. Chapter 20, The Final 30 Days. Where transformation locks in the last 30 days of the 90-day transformation are where everything becomes permanent. By this point, the identity has shifted, the habits are familiar, the discomfort threshold has increased, the discipline loop is automated, the internal resistance has weakened. Momentum is strong. Now you reinforce everything. The final 30 days are about strengthening your new identity, solidifying routines, eliminating old patterns, maximizing consistency, increasing standards, preparing for life beyond 90 days. Transformation is not complete until your new discipline feels more right than your old behavior. The last 30 days lock that in. Chapter 21. The version of you who finishes this. Imagine who you become if you complete this 90-day transformation. A person who does what they say. A person who shows up whether they feel like it or not. A person who is no longer controlled by emotions. A person with high standards. A person with internal power. A person with unstoppable momentum. A person who respects themselves. A person who takes full responsibility. A person who has mastered discomfort. A person who can rely on themselves. A person who has reclaimed their mind. This is not fantasy. This is who you will become. Conclusion. The new you begins now. Self-mastery is not a gift. It is not inherited. It is not random. It is not luck. It is not talent. Self-mastery is built, sculpted, engineered, forged, chosen. The next 90 days are your turning point. When you finish this transformation, you will never go back to the person you were before. You will walk differently, think differently, act differently, decide differently, expect differently, live differently. You will rise into the most disciplined, powerful, consistent version of yourself, the version you were meant to be. Your new life begins now.